Here we go. Today we're going to work on the feet. We're going to use a standard set of therapy balls. To begin, we're going to stand. So take the balls out of the tote, place them on the floor. I suggest using both. So use one for one foot and one for the other so that the balls wear evenly for you. So let's all start with the right foot. Take your therapy ball right to the high point of the arch of your foot. And just feel your weight sink into the ball. I'll back up a little bit. Rolling your feet is probably the best roll that you can do. This is so good systemically. So in our feet, we have an imprint of our entire body associated with embryology, which is what reflexology is based upon, as well as we have the beginning and ending of all of our major meridians in traditional Chinese medicine in our feet. So this is a really great way to just get a systemic response. And once you get accustomed to the weight of the ball under your foot, start to roll back and forth. But as you roll, don't roll over the ball. As you roll, think about kneading the ball. So you push in and then pull back, and then you push down and plow forward, so that you're pushing in and picking up the tissues, getting through all 4 layers of the plantar fascia. Hi, Rosemary. I didn't say hi at first. Thanks for joining. If you missed it, we're just going to use a standard set of therapy balls. And for one thing, we will need a block or a couple books to prop up the balls. But don't worry, if you don't have that yet, you can grab it when you need it. And now let's be more specific. Let's roll along the inside edge of the foot so that you're rolling around the long arch. Maybe 3 to 5 times. And if you find your balance is a little off, this isn't a balance exercise. Hold the wall. And then roll along the middle toes of the foot. So toes 2 through 4. And then roll along the pinky toe side of the foot. This, you kind of have to dig the outside edge into the ball a little bit, or else you get a runaway ball. Hi, Katie.
Hi, muting.
Great. Do maybe another pass or 2 along the bottom of the foot. And then come on off. Turn. And now, first we're going to come to the high point of the arch. So now the ball is still in the arch of the foot, but we're going to change the motion going across the ball so that we're starting to work on the pronation and supination motion in the midfoot. We're going to do this in the midfoot first, then the front of the foot. Then come to the ball of the foot. Yeah.
So I have like no arch to my feet, if you remember. So like when you're talking, are you talking at like right here or here?
So more like, so come to the edge of your heel. So like if you break your foot into 3 parts, you have your heel, so cup your heel.
Okay.
Then you have your middle foot, kind of cup the middle of the foot. Then you have your forefoot, the ball of your foot and the toes. So kind of right in that middle, if you would put your hands right in the middle of the foot.
Thank you. That really helps, seeing I have no arch to speak of.
Good. Yeah. So roll the middle of the foot. And then I just want to make sure am I back on everyone's screen? Okay. So roll along the middle part of the foot, like the middle third, trying to create a rainbow over the ball. And then move to the forefoot, creating an arch now, or an arc like a rainbow over the ball, trying to move from the foot and ankle. So touching, kind of, if I do with my hand, you're kind of going like this. I know it's kind of hard to see. So up and over, trying to get the foot from the motion from the foot and ankle as much as possible, not the knee or the hip. This is really critical. You can even hold your thigh if you're struggling with it a little bit. Yeah, this is so critical for avoiding ankle sprains, rolling your ankle, having control, changing directions. Great. Now, moving forward even more, let's come right into the toes. So take the big toe, I'll show you from the side, the big toe on top of the ball, let all of the other toes come off the side of the ball. And you want to be able to get this extension of the big toe. We're going for a great toe extension. Now, try to push the big toe down into the ball. You'll almost feel a cramping or tightening through the arch of the foot. And then release and try to push the ball of the foot down and the toe up. This is like the critical action to stay out of getting a bunion, keeping big toe mobility. 2 more times, push down, curl the big toe, even feel the arch of the foot cramp a little bit. And then release. Ball of the foot down, maybe even leaning into it a little bit. I just lifted my heel, keeping the ball of the foot down, big toe up. And then let's do that one more time. And release. Lean into it, last time. Almost like you're digging the ball of your foot, the base of the big toe into the floor. And now let's do a similar thing with the middle 3 toes. So if you can, try to take the middle 3 toes onto the top of the ball and let the big toe and the pinky toe side fall down to the floor. Now we're going to do the same thing with those middle toes. So first, just feel them come up. And then curl those toes so that you're pushing down into the ball. Feeling the arch lift, getting activation of those toe flexors, and then release. Try to keep the pinky toe and big toe down, middle 3 toes up on the ball. You may even lean into it again. And then again, curl those middle 3 toes. You want to curl so hard that you could feel like you're going to pick up the ball with your middle toes. I know people that can do it. I can't. Someday I'll be able to. So curl, 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 wrap your toes around the ball, feeling the arch lift, almost cramp. And then release. And then one more time. Curl. And then release. Maybe even dig the ball of the foot down and bend the knee over the toes, getting it just a little bit more extension. And then come off. We have 2 more variations in standing on this side, then we'll go to the other side. The next one we're going to do is come like a high heel onto the ball. So bring the ball right under the heel, but then kind of drift the ball forward so it's right at the edge of the heel bone. And then now start to stand on it. And I want you kind of like a sense of like a mortar and pestle, like smush the heel into the ball. So you're smushing right across the front edge of the heel bone. You may even notice that there's a spot that's particularly painful here. For me, I feel a more sensational spot towards the middle edge, the inside edge. And this is right where the plantar fascia originates, comes off the heel bone. So we're going across or transverse or cross friction massage, scrubbing the origin of the plantar fascia. Yeah. And then pause, slide off the heel, this one, and come right into that same spot we began, right in the middle of the foot. Now we're gonna wind the foot up. I like to think of it kind of like a jack-in-the-box. So you're just gonna spin, keeping your weight on the ball, spinning as hard as you can, much as you can, keeping the tension, going as far as you can in the circle, winding the ball up, winding the tissues up. So once you spin around as far as you can, you should feel this pressure underneath your foot, like it wants to recoil. So hold that pressure, compress into it. Feel the pressure build under the foot. Take a few deep breaths. You may even start to feel a little heat or a sense of burning for a moment. Take 2 more breaths. And then release, and you'll feel that ball spring back up.
Oh my God.
I'm going to mute you again, David.
Sorry.
That's okay. I'm sorry. Now, that was only one side. Switch balls and switch sides. So take your other ball so that your balls wear evenly, because this really wears balls. Starting with the ball in the middle of your left foot, or whichever side you didn't do. Just press your weight into the foot. Just feel your body weight just drop straight into where the ball and the body meet. Feeling all your awareness go down right there to the arch of your foot. And then keeping your attention there, start to drag along the bottom of your foot. Plowing, pushing down as you go forward, and then pushing down and pulling, dragging as you come back. Not just rolling across the surface, but kneading in to all the layers. If you need some balance, that's okay. This is not a balance exercise. When I do it on my own, I usually have my hand on the wall. And then become a little bit more specific, coming along the big toe side, right along the first ray, we call it the first toe. Like I said, this movement of the first toe is so critical in preventing bunions and our walking mechanics. Then along the middle 3 rays, bones 2, 3, and 4. And then out to the pinky toe side. Great. Taking 2 or 3 more passes wherever you feel like you need them the most. And then pausing with the ball right in the middle of the bottom of the foot again, close to where we started. So the heel is down on the floor, and then you're right in the midfoot, just behind the ball of the foot. Now we're gonna, like a rainbow, come over, sweep over the ball, or like a windshield wiper. Try to make that motion from the foot and ankle. Try to stay out of the hip, working on the side to side mobility now in the foot and ankle. Inversion and eversion, supination, pronation, if you've heard those terms. And then bringing the ball to the ball of your foot. You'll feel a little bit more ease, a little bit more mobility once you move it further up. Now arcing along the broadest part, the ball or the broadest part of your foot. Really critical to avoid ankle sprains, to have good mobility in this direction. Now up to the bunion fix, take your big toe, take just the big toe on top of the ball, trying to press the ball of the foot down into the floor, big toe pointing straight up. Now, curl the big toe into the ball. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Let's do that 2 more times. Curling, big toe pushes into the ball. Feel it all the way through your arch, a lifting of the arch. And release. Last time. Curl. And release. Maybe lift the heel, lean into the ball now. I could even step forward, try to extend that big toe. You see it. Stretching out that extension and then coming off. Now middle 3 toes on the ball. Big toe on the floor, pinky toe on the floor. Feel the extension now in your middle 3 toes. If they feel like they're stuck together, you can even bring your fingers to pull them apart. And when you're ready, curl those middle 3 toes into the ball like you're picking up the ball with your toes. And release. Drop the ball of the foot, lift the toes. Now 2 more times. Curl. And release. When you're ready, last time, curl the toes around the ball. Try to pick up the ball with your toes, feeling the arch engage. You may even start to feel a cramping a little bit through the arch. For 3, 2, 1, and release. Leaning into the ball one more time, maybe even stepping forward, getting a nice stretch of those middle 3 toes. Okay. Now, like you're on a high heel, come onto your heel, first lightweight, slide forward just a little bit, then start to step your weight into it so that you're right at the front edge of the heel bone, or the calcaneus. And now, like you're grinding a mortar and pestle, heel sways side to side. So you're doing a cross friction massage, a scrubbing of the front edge of the heel bone, right where the plantar fascia originates. You may find a spot that's particularly painful. You might just say like, oh, I'm just gonna lean into that, stand on that. That's fine too. There's no right way. The only way is to just listen to what your body's asking for. Release. Now come right back to where we started, in the middle of the foot. Wind yourself up. Keep tension on the ball. Spinning. Taking up the slack. Pausing there. Feel it build like a jack-in-the-box that wants to open. Hold it. Lean into it. Feel the heat start to build. Maybe a little burning. Let your body be really heavy without fighting it. And then release. Great work. Okay, we're done with the standing stuff. Let's come down, lie on our sides. Keep your balls out of the tote for now. If you did grab your block, or if you have your gorgeous ball, you can support your head. I love this next one. This one's really great for getting into the calf musculature. So we're gonna sandwich the calf. Come right to where the bottom of the belly is. So as the calf starts to narrow, right where the calf, the gastroc becomes the Achilles tendon, I wanna start there. And so place one ball under between your calf and the ground, and one ball between your calves. And now, all you're gonna do is bend, point and flex your foot. So point, flex, and it should feel like someone's squeezing the calf. Now, let's find another spot. Come into the broadest part of your calf now, the widest part of the calf. Now do the same thing. Point and flex your toes. Yeah. And then maybe let go of the pointing and stretching, and don't do anything with the lower legs. Just feel the movement come from the hips. What happens when you pull the knees into your chest, kind of make yourself into a little cannonball, or child's pose, and then out. You'll feel that rolling along the outside edge of the calf, right behind the bone, or the fibula of the outer leg. So right where that calf musculature meets the bone. And then find one more spot in the calf, maybe a little higher now. I actually took like the side of my top knee to pin the upper ball. And now bend and point and flex the foot one more time. I get a nice spot here up in the outside of the calf. I find this kind of sandwiching the calf so much more effective. And play with the placement of the ball. Look for that just right spot. Really listen to the sensations of your body. You might bend, you might roll a little bit to find that perfect spot. Sandwiching the calf as if you're like putting a little grip right around the calf, a little kind of like chip clip or vice grip. I feel like that was a little intense. That's why I thought of chip clip. Right along the calf. Trying to move the calf tissues between the two balls. And then release. Great. You can just turn over. You don't have to look at me, or you can flip over the other side, whichever you prefer. I'll flip so I can still see you. Do the other side just like this. So I like to start right where the calf muscle meets the Achilles tendon. So I'm kind of coming right to the narrowing point in the calf. And once I arrive here, I may go up and down just a little bit, bringing my knees into the chest, just to find that just right spot. And then once I find that nice grip right around the calf, I start to point and flex my foot to lengthen and shorten the tissues and to move through that little clamp that we've made. Oh, that's a better word, clamp. And then start to roll up and down. Your knees come up and down, searching for that next spot to land. So find that next tender point in the outside of the calf. Reposition the ball that's between your calves so that you can clamp right around there. Adjusting, finding that perfect point of sensation, any point of restriction and tightness before you begin to point and flex again. Listening to the sensations of your body. There's no correct technique, only what feels right for you. Here, you're a student of your body. So let your body be your teacher. I'm just being your guide. I'm just giving you the tools. So use the permission, take the freedom to explore what your body is asking. And then maybe bend and straighten your knees again, exploring the outside of the shin, right behind the bone where the calf connects. And then find that last ball stop up a little higher now in the calf. I'm sort of using my top knee to anchor the upper ball now instead of the calf itself to get a nice clamping there. Do what feels right for you. Pointing and flexing your foot. Feeling the clamping. Remembering to breathe. Maybe you stop moving altogether even. And then release. We're going to place our balls back into the tote. We're going to do 2 more rolls now with the ball and the tote. One for the shins and one more for the calves. And then we'll end with a couple of stretches. So this is the one where I said you'll need a block, because we're going to create a little runway for the calf. If you don't have the block under here, you're just not going to have enough room for your foot, and your foot's going to get caught. If you have a double alpha ball in a tote, or I have something else that's kind of like a double alpha ball, a bigger one, you won't need the prop. So I could just roll with this under my shin. But if I'm using the smaller balls just to stay consistent, we'll come onto a block. So begin with the balls on top of the block and come just under the knee joint. So you're right at the top of the tibia. And now we'll roll through about the top half of the shin, just bending the knee and straightening the knee. So for anyone that feels like this position is like really uncomfortable being on your hands and knees, you can do this on a chair. Here, I'll quickly show you. I would not recommend doing it on an office chair, but that's what I have nearby. So you could also just place the ball on a chair and you could roll like this. That's a very good alternative if you don't like being on your hands and knees. But you're okay with the hands and knees, continue. And once you find a couple spots of sensation, maybe you shift your weight into that side and just lean into it. Get a little sustained compression, a little more weight or pressure on there. And then you could even bend and straighten. Again, point and flex your toes and ankle. And you'll feel how that really pulls. And then continue to progress down your shin, moving from the middle of the shin towards the lower part of the shin. Trying not to cover in the entire long bone at one time, but breaking it into parts. Maybe just sustaining pressure, leaning your weight into it, or pinning and stretching by pointing and flexing. Maybe you even circle the foot. See what happens if you circle. Again, listening to the cues of your body. There's no right way. The more weight you lean into that side, the more intense the sensation will be. So you are in control of the intensity and of the resistance based upon how much you put in there. Coming down into the bottom of the shin now. And then finding the last ball stop as right across the front of the ankle. So I like putting the top of the ankle right over the ball. And then I sit back onto it. And this is right, and this goes right over the retinaculum or the tunnel, which all of the toe extensor muscles come through. And it could be a little bit sore on some people. And there I just put a little sustained pressure. Just compress that tunnel. I can even rock my hips side to side a little bit. And as you're ready, release. Just sit back on your heels for a second if you're doing this in hands and knees, and notice how different that feels now from the left and the right side. It's pretty remarkable. And as you're ready, switch to the other side, beginning just underneath the knee. Working first just the upper part of the shin, stripping, going right along both sides of the tibia bone. Pausing where you feel some increased sensation at that sensational spot. Maybe you point and flex, or circle the foot, tweezing out those tight fibers. Maybe you even just lean your weight into it, just hang out there. And then find your next ball stop more towards the middle of the shin, rolling, pressing, pointing and flexing or circling. And then moving down to the lower part of the shin. This is where I tend to lean to that side a little bit more, put a little bit more weight on it, bring my heel towards my hip. But listen to whatever feels right for you. And then find that last place right in the front of the ankle. And then now I'm just gonna sit my weight on right on the front of the ankle. Right in that arc between the two ankle bones. You have your two ankle bones, and then right in the front, there's kind of that band right between them. So I'm just sitting right on there, compressing into the soft tissue band that keeps all of those extensor tendons that lift the toes up in place. Take another couple just deep breaths, resting in the stillness. And off. Removing the block, sitting on your heels, and noticing how much easier you can kneel now. Keep your balls nearby. We're going to stay in a kneeling variation. Balls come right to the back of the knee. Now come into a child, knees can come a little bit wide. Now sit yourself back into a child's pose position. And as you start to sit back, you'll notice I don't go back all the way. I maybe go back like a half, maybe even like just maybe 2/3 of the way. And I start to feel some compression back there. Try not to go past that point of soreness or that point of where you tighten up or resist. And then start to wiggle your hips side to side. So kind of like a little bit like you're wagging your tail, but you're sort of doing this little dance, shifting side to side, easing into that sensation. You can come down to your elbows too. So yeah, Jill, you might like that. And let me know if you do have any knee pain with this. You should feel the pressure and compression and maybe some soft tissue tightness behind the knees, but I don't want pain in the knee joint. So don't push past the sensation. Just start where you are. And then maybe you'll settle into stillness. Maybe you'll let your head drop to the floor, letting the arms crawl out in front of you like a real child's pose. And then slowly walk yourself up. We're going to find one more spot here. We're going to just move the balls from outside the back of the knee, now more towards the middle of the calf. And now you'll sit more upright, and you'll be right in that middle muscle belly of the calf as well as the hamstring. And so you'll be able to sit up more easily now. And now, same thing, go back to that shifting side to side. And I find that right here, you can find this nice, like perfect spot right into the soleus between, you have the two big bellies of the calf. And right in between there, you have your soleus. So you can find that sweet spot where you're sitting right in between the heads of the gastroc. And you can get a little shift side to side here. I just looked at y'all and I saw myself and I'm like, whew, my shoulders are up towards the ears. So relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, even close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, just melting into that sensation. Breathe deeply. Feeling how as you soften into it, that sensation starts to dissolve. It's like you have this intense ball or light of sensation. And then as you soften and relax, it gets a little broader. And it gets a little broader and a little duller, kind of like the sensations being diluted until it just drifts away. You just feel the pressure of the balls against your body. And when that occurs, take them out. Stay right where you are though. Bring your knees and your feet together. Try to bring your heels together. Now sit back onto your heels. We're gonna do 2 stretches here. One for the point of the toes right now. So we'll come off our knees for a second. We'll lean back. As you lean back into your hands, try to lift the knees up a little bit. And as you lean back onto your hands and lift the knees, you'll feel that stretch right along that last place that we put the balls, right along the front of the ankle. And if you can't lift the knees, that's totally fine. Just go to where you feel the sensation. This is really going to help improve the pointing or the pushing off. If you feel like you want to lift the knees a little bit, but can't keep them up, you can place them on a little pillow. That might give you a little prop up, a little support for you. Yeah, I like that. Lean back onto a chair even, get those elbows onto a chair. Listen to whatever your body's calling for. Be a student of your body.
Hey, Erica, I'm having a really hard time going that far back because my art it's painful.
It starts to cramp in the arch. That's a pretty common thing. So don't go back so far. Really meet yourself at that, like right at that edge and back off from the sensation. So you end up at a sustainable place rather than pushing past resistance. Yeah. These are intense stretches that take a long time to work into. Even I get that like tightening sensation. I've been doing it for years, or that cramping. So when that happens, just come out, tap your toes. And we'll all come into the opposite now and see what happens here. Now, curl the toes under, get that big toe extension, try to keep the heels knocked together, and then sit the hips back onto your heels and start to walk yourself up towards sitting. You may end here feeling that stretch in the bottom of the feet. Your hands might come to your thighs, or you may, after all the work we just did on our feet, be able to come sitting upright. And this is another one where you can sometimes get that cramping in the feet, in the calves. Sometimes it's a burning type sensation. So try to meet yourself where you are. If you have the chair nearby, you can lean onto the chair just a little bit to unweight your feet a little. Saw a couple you do that leaning back too. So having that chair is nice. Take 5 deep breaths. Wherever you are, try to allow your body to soften. So give yourself the external support to hold on to so that you can make this sustainable. And then try to create an internal softness. Instead of fighting the sensation that arises, see if you can meet the sensation and again, start to feel that easing, like that diluting and the broadening of that sensation. 2 more breaths. Exhale all the way. And then come out, kick your feet, let the sensation come back. We're all gonna end in this really, really nice inversion stretch. This is the very last thing. I promise it's relaxing. So you have a couple options. You're gonna lie down on your back. I'm gonna put my therapy balls back into my tote. And you can decide, you can try this if you want, or you can just use your block or your books. You're gonna lie on your back. I'm gonna take my therapy balls right under my sacrum, right into those dimple points of the sacrum, maybe even doing a couple pelvic tilts, just to find that just right spot. Then I'm gonna pull my knees into my chest. And if this feels unstable, like too much pressure, or just doesn't feel great, that's what this is for. Or your foam roller is perfect here too. And then from there, I'm stretching my legs up straight towards the sky. Knees are slightly bent. I may even kick my legs around. And then I really want you to do a couple ankle pumps, flushing out the lower legs. Kicking, pedaling, pumping, letting go of any tension in the legs, letting all of the lymph, everything we freed up, drain back towards the heart. Take a couple deep detoxifying breaths too. Letting go completely. Maybe opening the mouth, even sighing out the mouth. Allowing the legs to be completely weightless. It's a great way to release, let go of anything stuck in the lower legs or feet. If this version doesn't feel good, you can do this on your own time with your legs up the wall. It's a great way to prepare for bed at night. Stay there as long as you'd like. But as you're ready, bring your feet down. Remove the props. Roll to your side. And we'll meet in sitting. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have very happy feet going into the weekend.